we haven't really spoken about the World Cup. Obviously, I love the World Cup because Catapult is so deeply ingrained in the World Cup. And I also love that Australia keeps qualifying for the World Cup and keeps getting through to the knockout phase.
Well, the knockout phase is now 32 teams, which used to be the entire World Cup. So that it is a bit of a Pyrrhic victory, so to speak.
But we're playing Belgium in the knockout, and they're pretty good, actually. But, I think it'll be an interesting game. But I wanted to say something not about the matches, but about leadership. I think there's a really interesting leadership lesson in the Australian approach to this, which I think people missed in the commentary that I read, and that is this. The guy that is the coach of Australia, Tony Popovic. And so in the second game, do you remember what he did with the team?
He stuffed it up.
Okay, so you would say he stuffed it up. But if he would have made the exact same choices and won 2-0 instead of losing 2-0, you would not say
of course,
he stuffed it up.
Wouldn't have stuffed it up in that case.
No.
But that did not happen.
Well, nobody would. So the challenge is this. You've got a guy here who is running a team, coaching a team, that is not one of the 20 best teams in the world, probably. And the US is. That's who they were playing. And the US is actually, without going into all the boring sports stuff, the US has now figured out a way to play that is unbelievably exciting and completely different to the way that they used to play. And they've become a very competitive team. Really good. And so you got Popovic, and he's thinking, what am I going to do about this? And there's this very famous quote from one of the founders of Hewlett-Packard that said, the price of innovation is a tolerance for failure. That's a great quote, because everybody wants that was so innovative and you did great things, but actually it often ends in failure. And so I'm not going to say, do I think Popovic did the right thing or the wrong thing? Because I actually don't know, okay? But what I know is everybody judged him based on the output metric. What was the score at the end of the game? Nobody talked about the input metric, which is why did he go for, or very few people, why did he go for this approach? What might have been the upside of it, etc. And the next game, he chooses a different lineup.
He went back to the lineup that most people thought he should have gone in the second game. In fairness, he very much went against almost what everybody wanted to do in the second game.
All right, but the thing is, we don't know. By the way, I'm not saying he did the right thing. What I'm saying about leadership is that he was up against a team where clearly he felt if he played the game that he played in the first match, and the first match was a very particular kind of game, which was Australia would defend heavily and then try and get the ball forward quickly and counterattack, because again, they were playing a team that was better than them, and it worked really well, right? And I think he just felt like it was totally transparent. They would be able to adapt to it, and they're just too good and too fast and too strong. And so we don't know the canon narrative, which is if he would have listened to everyone and run the same team, we might have lost 5-0.
Yeah, sure.
Who knows, right? And the goal difference mattered. And so my point is less about was that the right decision, and it's more about this. When you want a business, there's a sports team in a business, a professional sports team has got unbelievably similar dynamics to a company often from what I've seen. And so if you want to have an organization, let's call it, that is innovative and always striving to be better and striving for victory, then some of the decisions that you make, they're going to go really badly. And because those decisions are going to be contrarian, innovative, whatever the word is, they're going to look very different and very non-standard. And when they go badly, you'll look like an idiot because you did something non-standard. And whether or not his choice was right, I certainly think trying something different and trying to innovate was the right decision. And I would just encourage people involved in high-performance organizations to focus left on a single set of output metrics for one game, one quarter of a business cycle, and focus more on, is our decision-making process right to innovate? And if so, trust the process.
I agree with half of what you say and disagree with half of what you say. So where I totally agree is, as a leader, whether you're a founder, whether you're a hired CEO, you've got to be able to take chances and you've got to take risks and they clearly won't all pay off. And if you're taking risks that 100% of them pay off, then you're not taking enough risks and the risks are too conservative. So, and businesses succeed through asymmetric bets. So you've got to take a bet that pays off 100 to 1 and the loss is 1. So 100% agree the need to push the boundaries and take risks and make mistakes. That I agree with. Where I disagree with is putting every wrong decision in that bucket, because sometimes people just get stuff wrong. And you also need to be able to retrospectively say, this was actually a stupid decision. This wasn't a calculated risk. This is actually something that was dumb. And and sometimes people do dumb things. and I've done dumb things, and lots of people do dumb things. So I think we got to
we all
recognise, and I think this Popovic one, it looks like he clearly went back in the third game to very much more what he did in the first game. And that also, to his credit, is a great result. But I'm also cognizant you just don't want to be able to just make do stupid things that aren't well thought through, that aren't based on data, that really have no justification. Say, we've got to try stuff, because that's also wrong. So I think there is a fine line where you want to be pushing the envelope, but based on data-driven metrics and stuff that gives you a good chance of succeeding. You don't just be flipping coins.
Well, I totally agree with what you just said. And so let me say the last bit of what I would say to founders or CEOs in this. I say, when you're going to do something, an acquisition, or just to have a go with some tactic that's got risk attached to it, before you do it, write down all the things that you believe are going to happen. Like the good things. This is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I think when I do this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this and this. And you have to write it down before you take the first step or do the first thing along that road. And then at the end of it, you can go back to that piece of paper and you can assess honestly, how did things turn out the way I expected, and how did they not turn out, and why? And I think that you're right. You're 100% right. Like, it can't be dumb decisions producing dumb outcomes is not the same as smart decisions that didn't play out the way you expected because you got an assumption wrong, or the market wasn't what you thought it was, or competitors reacted differently. Like those, I totally agree. Those two are not the same things. I totally agree.